So in this video, we are going to be discussing why it can be so hard to let somebody go and move on. Now, this is off the back of a question I got the other week, which was, why is it so hard to let go? I've spent months thinking about a person and going back and forth when I know it's not right, but I feel heartbroken. My friends say I need to move on, but I just can't seem to. Don't know if that resonates for anybody, but this is something that I work on a lot with clients, because a lot of the time we do feel so stuck in this place, unable to move, unable to let go. And even if we can kind of rationally understand that it's not right with somebody, we still feel kind of almost hyper attached to them, and we can't really figure out a way to move through this. And, I think looking around, especially with clients, sometimes it can feel even harder because it feels like their friends bounce back super quickly and they're in the same place. Or perhaps, you guys might be watching your ex move on with somebody else, or it might be that you feel obsessed, or you feel utterly heartbroken, even though you knew it wasn't right, or perhaps even kind of you might even acknowledge that your intensity of feelings is a little bit disproportionate to what the situation was, which is why your friends are telling you to get over it because it's not that serious, but you still feel in the same place. Now, for some of you, this response to a breakup, or even just having to let go of the idea of somebody, may well be linked to your attachment style. So in simple terms, our attachment system is the kind of mechanism in our brain that creates and regulates our attachment and connection to significant either caregivers or, in this case, romantic partners. So in evolutionary terms, John Bowlby argued that we are genetically programmed to attach ourselves to a few people in order to ensure survival, which means it's kind of a basic instinct to attach and not want to let go of the person you think is going to keep you safe and you think is paramount to your survival. And we do that at all costs. We need to maintain that connection at all costs. And this feeling is amplified when you have what we kind of term an anxious attachment style compared to a secure attachment style, and it feels a lot more intense than the kind of avoidant attachment style. So let's say if you have an anxious attachment style, once your system is activated, so once you feel like your partner is pulling away or something has changed, when you're scouring those texts to see if you can guess what's going on, or if you're looking at the fact they're not using emojis and they usually used to. Once you feel like your connection to your attachment figure has been threatened, so either they're pulling away or perhaps it's even ended, there is only one primary response and kind of one thought, which is to re-establish that closeness with that person, regardless of what they've done, regardless of their behaviour, regardless of whether you rationally know it's right. And this response and these thoughts are called activating strategies, and they include such things like convincing yourself that they are the one and your only chance at love, overthinking about the person constantly, only remembering the good qualities about them, thinking they'll change, so you don't want to let it go, and not letting it go. And all this does, these kind of thoughts and stories, serve by maintaining the connection to that person. But then what happens is that we become very, very attached to these thoughts. We become incredibly attached to the story that we are creating around this person. So we start telling ourselves, that they're our soulmate, that they're the only one who's ever going to understand us, that nobody is ever going to make you laugh like they do, and that you've got something real and you've got something different, and if only they do this, and maybe they could do that, or whatever it is. But we kind of attach a story to somebody and what they mean to us, which becomes a bit of a fantasy. So we're then living and we attach ourselves to this fantasy. So in order to move through it, you've got to let go of the story and of the fantasy, and also the hope of the future that you had together, as well as trying to regulate your attachment system and your kind of, you know, your nervous system, really. So there is a lot to it. And I think you know, it's not just kind of about being able to let somebody go. You know, I think heartbreak, when we've got an anxious attachment system, is we're kind of longing for somebody who's no longer available. And our biological system is programmed to want to try and win them back, to bring them close. So even if we rationally know you're not meant to be together, your head might know it, your body still thinks you are, and your kind of emotional makeup still thinks you are. So sometimes we can rationally know, but our attachment system doesn't comply, which is where it does get quite tricky, and where this pattern can drag on for a considerable amount of time, and it can become a regular pattern that happens with every partner. And I think if you don't have the right awareness around this and the right support, it will happen time and time again. And if this sounds like you, if you are stuck in love and spending months or weeks or even years doing this, then I highly recommend you work with somebody, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a coach, and at least start reading around this, because on average it takes about 4 years for somebody to change attachment styles without realizing it and without any support, but you can do it a lot quicker. But it is hard, it requires work, it requires commitment, and you have to do it for yourself. You know, you can't be stuck in this place all the time, because you are going to waste all your energy and years of your life. Haven't been there and done it. So it really is up to you. If you want to book a free call with me, please do so. The link is in my bio. One-to-one doors are open for the last time this year to start coaching before 2022. So please go do that. Otherwise, please like and comment and share, and subscribe. And if you want part 2, which is going to be on how to start letting go, then please drop a comment below.